And we are back. This is Spider of Crescendo Games. Hello, everybody. I almost knocked something over just already. We just got started. I'm almost destroying everything in my kitchen. Hooray. How's everybody doing this evening? All the probably two people that are ever going to watch this. I am, well, in theory, we're going to be playing with people for this chapter tonight. We'll see. Although at this point, nobody's really gotten back to me. We had talked about it. Pete, I know that Cal won't be here. But I was under the impression that that Tasha or Jesse might be. But nothing yet. They may come crashing our party at 10:15. We'll see. So, we are going to use this time to talk about a couple of ideas I have for these times when the Weaver is hosting and nobody shows up because life sucks like that, and sometimes just being in, just the real world. Crescendo is not made for college students who have all the time in the world. You think you have all the time in the world when you don't think you have all the time in the world when you're in college. You do. You really, really, really do. So here we are. We're going to talk for a few minutes about where the game is at, because it's actually moved forward a fair bit since the last time. Since the last time I talked about it last week, as we waited for someone to jump on. I'm watching Discord. I really, really would like to play tonight, but we'll see. It's one of those things. So, where the game is at currently. So I am in the process, as we speak, of updating the text to 0 edition, which has been interesting. I'm going back through the text line by line, resetting up the setting, just kind of putting the layout together before I go and put, open source art in. And it has been really interesting because I already had it pretty concise, and I'm just finding more and more places where it's like, I could cut that sentence out, or this sentence needs to become a paragraph long. We'll see. So I'm in the middle of doing that. I haven't gotten as far as I would like, but it's been interesting, like trying to figure out how the layout should work, because Crescendo is going to be an A4 format, so it's going to be bigger than normal, the most normal RPG books. So I'm kind of setting up stuff I hadn't really thought about from the Ashcan edition. Actually making it look like something, putting in columns so that way people can read it better. And just making it look nice in a way that I find appealing. So I accidentally found out that I'm pretty much doing what Shadow Dark has done, very, very, than actually what Liminal Horror did, as far as like keeping things to specific pages and the kind of black and white design that they did. I accidentally did it. I mean, I'll admit, I'd seen their work before. I'd seen Kelsey's and what's his name? 1 second. Ugh. A game I really want to try someday. Who wrote this? I keep forgetting. He just goes by Goblin Archives. That's what he goes by on there. I can't remember his name right now, but Goblin Archives. At some point, I'm gonna get the deluxe version, but I really, really like this little rule book. This is one of the like super light RPGs that I own that I am very happy that I held on to. Very, very well designed game, very well designed layout. I really like it. I accidentally cribbed off of both, and I really had no idea that I was doing it at the time. So here we are. So we're doing that. I'm writing the section I'm kind, I'm obviously I'm putting in corrections and whatnot as I'm going, and then I'm gonna go in and take another crack at the house rules section, which I think it might be the most important, the biggest selling point of the whole book. Crescendo is not necessarily. Crescendo has two use cases. One, it's just your main game. You don't want to play anything else. You just want to play Crescendo, which would be great, by the way. That's a fantastic thing. Or, and this is the more likely one, it exists alongside of a game you're already running. So what do I mean by that? Let me go grab. I like having props, and I keep forgetting that I don't have them. So let's say that you're in the middle of running a Shadow Dark campaign, like I just started last night, which I did. It's called the Dragon Shadow. Let's say you're running Shadow Dark, right? Or let's say you're running Liminal Horror, or let's say you're running Axe, or whatever else, right? 5e, say. I am writing a guide in the book that would let you play Crescendo alongside other role-playing games and give some ideas on how to do that. So that way you don't have to give up your game to play my game. If anything, you would add my game to your game. And at that point, you now have this richer tapestry going on inside of your game world, because Crescendo has an odd habit of generating a lot of lore very, very, very quickly. It does a lot of your world building for you as you're playing. The sessions are shorter. The play is a lot faster and much more intense than most people are used to. I'm checking the Discord servers we're going, although I have a feeling that no one will be there tonight. We'll see. But at 15, I'm going to start playing Chapter 6, and we're going to try out a couple of ideas I have in mind. And the fact that the players aren't around to stop me is, what are they going to do? They're not here. So they'll just have to watch this later and rue the day. Right, Tasha and Jesse and Cal? Rue the day? Yeah. No one's here to stop me tonight. I'm going to have fun. So I'm putting that guide together. I'm putting the guide for hacking the game together, and it's interesting. I had tried it at an earlier stage of design and writing, and I really didn't like it. I really didn't like what I'd written, and then I realized I really wanted it back in, and that might be the biggest selling point of the game, is that you don't have to give up your game to play it. You can just slot this small but explosive session of story gaming into whatever world you're currently running, and have it work out and actually have it be a much, much richer experience for it. So one of the things that I'm messing with, and that we're going to be messing with tonight, inside of 0E, I added what's called the archetype table. And the archetype table is whenever, so each of the gods inside of your myth for Crescendo is assigned an archetype. And you just make up like a word or two. You make these up. These are your things. It's a bespoke series of archetypes. So like, for instance, Telos would be, the Avenger, the Repentant, the Shepherd. There's 3, and then the 4th one would be the Fool, because Telos is burned by Elpida in the myth that I wrote. He goes to destroy the the flame eternal, and he's burned in response. So the Fool. You always want one archetype in there that's not very nice. So one of the things, and I like this particular thing, and I have used it, and I find it very useful. However, I'm experimenting with a house rule that I'm going to put in. Oh God! I'm experimenting with a house rule that I'm going to put into the game. Tarot cards. This is actually the D&D tarot deck, given to me as a sort of, I guess, a gag gift for Christmas a couple of years ago. So you could like pull out story cards or whatever, and use them for your archetypes. And so I'm coming up with rules on constructing a deck and using it to challenge beliefs. And I usually find that that the best thing that the Weaver can do, and that the Weaver should do, at least for me, and this, I mean, I'm writing the text, so but the best thing that I found that the Weaver should do is make a world that is thematically consistent, and then focus on keeping the world thematically consistent. So that way, player beliefs are just challenged by just existing. If you present a coherent enough worldview to players, it will always rub them wrong. They will all because there will always be something. There will always be something that catches them and that will push them forward, and then you don't have to spend your time wondering what you should do. Instead, you're just kind of focusing on the myth, and you're focusing upon the world as it exists in a thematic sense, and that is creating this this spiritual environment that cannot help but challenge the players. It just can't help it. It will do that just on its own. I find that to be a much more productive thing than directly like the beliefs are useful to create the archetypes, right? And then the beliefs are useful because the players play them, and they are, they write them, and then they're rewarded for playing with them. But as far as the Weaver is concerned, he's just pulling at strings, and the archetypes are the strings. So I prefer images for that sort of thing, and tarot cards are very useful for that. Especially if the images are not really, your typical occultic imagery. So I have my own opinions on the history of tarot cards. You don't have to use them, but I think they're pretty playing cards, so I just have no issue with it. Pulling instead of instead of using an archetype table, I'm going to start using the major arcana pulled from the beliefs. Pulled from the gods, which are assigned to the different beliefs, and that creates this handy little deck. So that's something I'm going to be writing up on Tuesday. I'll also be writing up a guide on using the minor arcana, especially if they have images. But if not, how to use, if you're using, the Marseille deck or something like that, something with a bit less, something with a bit less direct imagery. Because I just personally find that images are just so much more useful in setting up a thematic. Setting up a thematic like environment for players, that or music. That may be something else I do, but that's for a different stream. We are currently 1 minute away, and then I just get to do whatever I want. and I'll tell the players what to write down later. So we are at that time. I am checking my phone, and no one has gotten back to me, which probably means, just life happens. And again, how do I put this? This sort of stuff happens for role-playing games, right? If you have an ongoing story or an ongoing campaign, I literally have like 3, sometimes a 4th person in my group, and there's still evenings like this, right? You go, hey, this is when we're playing, this is when I'm showing up, and nobody even asks for a reschedule, which again is fine. So if anyone is sitting there like, oh, he's calling, no, this is life, most of the people I'm playing with are parents. And if they're not parents, they have their own duties and respond, Tasha and I are parents. I've got my kids, she's got her kids, and God knows what's going on right now. I actually hope she's okay. Ross, who sometimes is able to play with us, he's got a horrendously busy schedule. So I get that. So this session is not so much a punishment as just saying that, well, you have to keep the momentum going. So I'm going to kind of fiddle around here. I'm going to kind of fool around and see what I get. I'm going to see what I've got here. So, first things first, to kind of recap what was going on inside of the session, between sessions, because, well, if you read this via the blog post, you'll find that if you read this via the blog post, you will find, sorry, I'm right now writing in things here. I'm just writing in my journal. You will find that by the time you get to this point, you will have read what was going on right up until today, which is Kaksusa 7. Yesterday being Kaksusa 6, and that's the day that our good friends in the Dragon's Shadow released Junior, who had been kidnapped off screen, and no one in the Dragon's Fire was even able to figure that out. It was the people in the Dragon's Shadow who figured that out. Anyway, so I'm going to kind of talk through my process here, and hopefully everyone will be able to follow along and sort of enjoy as I sort of design a mechanic here on stream for an audience of no one. But that's all right. So a mechanic like this is going to be necessary for 2 reasons. The first reason is because momentum has to keep going. I have frequently found that as long as week in and week out, everybody feels like they've contributed something useful to the campaign, to the epic, as I call it, then it keeps going. It may be an in-person play. It may be, it may. I'm going to check one more time while we're talking. It might be an in-person play. It might be journaling. As I've outlined inside of the Dragon's Fire blog posts, if it hadn't have been for the one-to-one time and the journaling between sessions, we may have lost this campaign actually in January, because it was, January to February, because I think we only got like one session done, one gameplay session done, and the entirety of that month and a half, and there was some dark shit going on. Several people I knew died all within a week of each other. Like, this is normally stuff that I find kills a campaign, and instead we're here at, and instead here we are. So the point is to keep the momentum going. And so sometimes the Weaver calls for session and nobody shows up. So what happens then? I am going to create a counterpart for that for if the Weaver can't show up, which will be a very much so, the Weaver is away, the players are going to just, the players are going to take things. So don't worry about it, Tasha and Jesse and Cal. Yours will come. You will get your you'll get your chance to push back. It's coming. So set this thing. I always feel really weird because my sound setup isn't too good. I know it, so I'm always trying to get into the microphone. All right, so that's reason number one, momentum. But the second reason is actually because, and this is the thing that I think, for my pride, it's the most important, right? It's not actually, but for my pride it is. It's accurate to Gene Wolfe, who this game is very much so based around. Wolfe has a habit of having things move behind the players' backs. When you're reading and you meet someone and all of a sudden you realize that it's been like months since you've seen them in the story, and all of a sudden they're like serving a dark god and you don't know how the hell they got there, and there's no explanation offered in the text. There's nothing, or there's very little. There's very, very, very little, and you have to infer a lot. So that's more or less that's more or less what we're doing here. We are creating a mechanic that lets the Weaver kind of screw around and kind of get things worse, so that way whenever the next time everybody plays, they're like, geez, we really wish we'd been there because you really got to mess around. What the heck? But instead of it being, and again, there's going to be an equal reciprocity thing for this in Zero E as well, and so there's all that. So Chapter 6 of the Dragon's Fire is going to be all about the NPCs, and it's going to be all about the world. So what do we need? Well, we need a way of tracking what's going on. So between sessions, a comet blazed across the sky, and there was an earthquake. The lake that was around Soda City drained into a gorge this gorge opened up that went right through the center of Soda City, killing a whole bunch of the soldiers. The lake drained, washed away most of the undead that were coming out, but now there's like this crack going down like 20 or 30 miles deep into the undermaze. So now all of the nasty shit that the Minotaurs were keeping down there and were making sure didn't get out can now get out. Anything that was right underneath Soda City was flooded. Due to the fate points of the players, they prevented themselves from being drowned and bashed around. They had enough fate to be able to take the beating and walk away with basically not a scratch, because they are chosen by the gods. It is kind of like we're in book 3. It's kind of a big deal. So that's the situation we're walking into. Last night, Junior got free, but he's miles south. He's not in play yet. Not for this specific day on Coxusa 7. He's not around for this, not yet. Next time he will be, and that's going to be fun because everybody loves Junior. I love Junior. I think Junior's great. So let's go through what we got. We have Soda City. We have the Undermaze. We have what I call the Undermaze proper, which is just the no man's land, right, of the Underdark world. Then we've got the Undermaze. We've got the Undermaze, specifically the Soda City cluster, which is almost entirely destroyed. So we got that. I'm writing this down as we're talking, so that way I can kind of keep track. We also have Soda Fortress, which is not quite on the fault line, but it's close. So we have that. So we have 4 locales that we need to be thinking about right now. And we should probably throw in Soonfor, which is the place where our good, intrepid friends in the Dragon Shadow are at. So I should just throw that in there so that way we can all have something, so that way everybody can have a little bit of something. So now what do we do? The chapters of Crescendo are not gameplay sessions in the sense that most people think of them. You're not playing the plot. You're playing turning points in the plot. It's a very, very, very the point of the game is the trial, is the moral and spiritual trials and psychological trials that your heroes go through as their actions have these ripple effects. So it is not business as usual. Chapters are not supposed to be that. Chapters are supposed to be weird. They're supposed to be out of left field. And if you're playing the game right, they are supposed to be the lightning points. They're supposed to be the lightning rod points. So I'm not here to do small things. I'm here to do big things that the players will then have to deal with later. So that's kind of our that's our goal. So first things first, which means that the archetypes are in play. This isn't normal stuff. This is the big weird stuff. So first things first, I had drawn as the first arcana or archetype, the moon. I'd drawn this a couple of hours ago and I was kind of thinking about it, and this is part of what I'm going to be writing up in 0E, just sitting with an image and just letting it sit in your brain. So the moon, illusions. If you're looking at this particular one, it's some woman holding a sun, and then on the other side is this weird spectral dragon thing. So illusions and wisdom and interior light and in the middle of the dark. So we're going to sit down and we're just going to we're going to play this out. So 1, the moon. Everybody gets the moon. So we're going to go to our handy dandy journal, which is leaking pages as we speak. You don't have to do this in a literal actual notebook, but I like writing, so this is what I'm going to do. All right, so the moon factors into everything this session. Hopefully you can hear me all right, and hopefully I'll knock over the dam. All right, so Soda City. We're going to do Undermaze proper, Undermaze, Soda City cluster, Soda Fortress, and then Soonfor. I'm going to do this. So, first things first, we just had a huge upheaval. I just had a huge upheaval going. So what's going on in each of these? Oh, someone just messaged me. That's Jesse. I am on already. Poor Jesse. And daylight savings time will be too hard with my kids. Let's see here, kids. All right, so let's see what he says to that. Hopefully he watches later and laughs. All right, so things that are about to happen. So we're going to use the moon. So Soda City was just cracked in half, and things are going to start coming out. So we have the moon, which is about, interior light with weird shadow things. Let's just say that it's Kaksusa 7. The moon's not really up yet. Well, Eus isn't really up yet. We're going to have Tuntamenta. So there's 2 moons over Harani. One of them is Eus, the evil moon, and the other one is Tuntamenta, which is called the wisdom, the wisdom moon. So we're going to have it to where because everything is a wreck. So we're going to have the mirror for that. So we're going to have it to where I like the idea of whales. I don't know why. It's jumping into my head. So we're going to have it. Let me see. This is what we do. We just make up crap and we throw it in there. Let's see here. Google Translate. Let's do translate for wisdom whale into Finnish and see what we find. What do we get when we do that? What are we going to call these creatures? All right. Visausvalas. I butchered that. Sorry. But we're gonna shorten that down because I can't pronounce that. Sorry, Finnish people. We're gonna do Visaulas. Yeah, we're gonna call them Visaulas. We'll call Visaulas space whales of wisdom. Why not? Space whales of wisdom came down from Tuntamenta. And taught. To make sure that Jesse knows that it's okay. And taught the survivors magic to shield them from the undead army, because now that it's this huge, now that there's this huge gorge, now you have this problem. Also, this is now the age of generosity. So, the Visaulas are they're able to come down and do this now. It's the age where someone would be able to do that. Oh, he's on. Oh, shoot. Hello? I don't hear him. Jesse?
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Huh?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, man.
All right.
I was getting away with murder while you guys were away.
Well, did Tasha and them show up, or?
No. I was actually playtesting a Only the Weaver Shows Up session.
Oh.
And I actually got something kind of cool in. I can finish that up later, though, because I'd much rather play with you. So just that way you know, there are space whales of wisdom. I just made them up. They're called Visaulas. And they're down at Soda City helping out right now. Because, you know, he's gone. He's gone. I wonder what happened there. Probably something network. See, this is the sort of thing that happens. We'll see. Anyway, while he's doing that, he's back. He is back. There you are.
Yeah, it cut out randomly.
Gotta love it. All right, so we can do something a little short tonight because it's 10:35 and, you know, there's daylight savings time. So sorry about not being able to do it tomorrow night. It's just daylight savings time sucks with one child, never mind four. That's where it gets really, really, really evil. So you need to watch Dragon Shadow Session 1 because they found Junior.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. And Hadrian sends his he sends middle fingers and curses because they had to deal with Junior.
Okay.
It didn't go it did not go the way they thought it would go. It was pretty funny.
It sounds like you suck at dealing with kids. How is that my fault?
He's not just any kid. He's a gigantic three-headed turned demon monstrosity thing. Like, come on, that's not their fault. But anyway, so he won't be here. I don't know if you got my message from earlier, but you actually finally heard him call back to you. He's on his way. He's trying to find you now. So, hooray. Let's hit the books and let's get started. I know you had made a new belief about learning to be a better ruler, right? This one. What was it? One second. Let's get that out of. Let me get this replaced really quick. Hopefully, I don't tear up this page like I did with Tasha's. Okay, what was it? It was like I think it was like I think you're referring to like my plan. I think if I was to sum it up, it'd just be my plans weren't as airtight as I thought. I need to learn to actually be like a better ruler or something like that. I think that's what it was. What are your thoughts on that? Hello?
Alright, can you hear me?
Yep, now I can.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of that as a sum up for a belief?
I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Okay. Let's become a better rule. I must become more. Okay. So, let's hit the books. Grab me a random passage from your journal. And oh God, we don't knock over microphones here. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be talking into microphones. Anyway, grab a random line from your journal.
Sorrow is for remembering. Without sorrow, we can't remember.
It was a nicer area of town, but definitely not too nice. With only one pile of refuse on one side of the street. That's what we got here. So what we're gonna do? So our huge drop. Our huge like way to start the session. While you guys are, you know, because if you remember, you guys are currently next to an underground lake. Just trying to keep warm. you see this very strange, mysterious light coming. You go. It's you guys have an area to go use the restroom, and while you're over there relieving yourself, you see this curious, soft blue light. And if you remember correctly, blue is the color of Elpida, the goddess, so it's generally considered a good color. So there that is. There's this soft blue color, and it feels warmer. Something about it feels very, very nice and familiar, and it calls out to you, and it says, King Melny, it is time. Follow me. Do you follow it?
I would say sure, I guess.
Don't sound so totally unguarded.
It's not necessarily unguarded. I'm very cautious, but I mean, at the same time, I found out every single time that this kind of thing has happened, it's always been kind of an idea that I should probably go with what the divinities have asked me to do.
You know.
Technically, last time I did exactly what divinity told me to do, I ended up with a child, so.
Oh, yeah, this is true.
I actually have to go back and watch that now. I want to see that first reaction to whenever they met Junior.
Oh, dude, Hadrian lost his shit. He lost his shit. Once you're gonna hate me for other reasons when you watch it. I'm not sorry. You left your child unattended. Bad things happen to unattended children.
Technically, I also left Tasha unattended. Look at what happened there.
Yeah, this is true. Anyway, so you're following. So first things first, you walk for a little while. You don't even really notice that you left everyone behind. It's just not really like a part of what you're doing, right? All of a sudden, you're standing in this incredibly bright. This incredibly bright room. And there's a bunch of people around a table. And they're arguing bitterly with each other. And a couple of them are starting to put their hands on, they've got their blades, and people are starting to finger them as they're arguing with each other. It looks like bloodshed's about to break out. What do you do?
I still have my ruby blade, correct?
Oh yeah, you still have that, man.
If they're at the table, you ever seen one of those things? I take it, I don't draw the blade, but I have it in my hand, like the sheath and everything.
Sure, yeah.
And I just plant the sword onto the table with both hands. And I just go, gentlemen, please cease the needless fighting.
They look over at you and someone says, "Who made you our judge? Who the fuck are you? Who gives you the right?" Someone else shouts, "Hey, yeah, where did you come from?" And they all start arguing with you. And they're getting closer, and they don't look terribly happy to see you. They seem actually they seem very, very, very unhappy to see you, actually. So they start getting closer, and they are definitely going to put hands on you unless you do something about it. What do you do?
The blade is drawn.
Shit. Okay, cool. The blade is drawn, and they all kind of
Wait. Just a curiosity. If I half draw them, does the sword do anything? I don't mean fully draw and go right into trying to fight them. More half draw to kind of show the power.
Oh yeah.
I don't have to fully draw kind of thing, or I don't have to fully blade, because I know the blade doesn't like that. And
no,
it doesn't. It would just.
You're not using it. You're. Everybody stops when they see the hilt, and they immediately kneel before you and they say, "The ruby blade, the legendary blade, it has chosen a new owner." And they immediately kneel. So they begin to grovel before you. And they say, "What plans do you have for us? What can you tell us? Speak, O wielder of the blade."
I looked at him and I asked, "Speak your names, speak who you are, before I make my judgment. I must know the situation."
What you proceed to be told is some of the most backbiting bullshit you've ever heard in your life. Just total horseshit. You're not even certain they're telling you the truth about their names. Like, it's pretty bad. Each one of them has a story that's worse than the next one. You know, that's worse from the first. It's obvious that they're just sucking up to you because of your power. They're scared of you. They're not like, this is, they're blaming the people who are to their right and claiming that they're terrible people who have no right to the food before them. And you're looking at this food, Melanie, and your stomach is growling. It's been days, and yeah, you were able to you're not like terribly hungry because your fate points are around. How many do you have left, by the way? Because I think you blew all but like one.
I can't remember. I just said I spent fate not to deal with the
Right.
issue.
Well, you had like 9 or 10.
I had 11.
You had 11. Holy shit! You had 11. So you have.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The 6, 7. I think you have 3 fate left. So you're hurting. So you're hungry, and all of these assholes are they're blaming each other for everything. They're not coming to an accord. It's obvious that these are not honest and good folk. What do you do?
Well, the old me would do a certain thing, but this is not the old me. This is a new me. And a king hears out his subjects, but must make harsh decisions in some situations. My question is, if I can tell they're making up a bunch of bullshit, can I tell who these people might actually be? Or is it something that maybe perhaps they just, I don't know, are they using this maybe to lull me into a sense of taking a side type thing? Is that what I'm sensing from these people?
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry. Restate? My bad.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. I was kind of rambling there for a second. I was thinking to myself.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Basically, what I'm asking is, are these people obviously something that they're not letting on? Like, can I tell that they have any kind of validity to what they try and say, or is it all just a bunch of made up bullshit?
What's your cunning at?
I don't know.
And then if you have any skills. I'm just trying to determine what the
I think my cunning remained at a D6.
Okay, so it's higher than average. Do you have a skill that you'd like to try and apply to this? I'm just trying to form my judgment.
Maybe my leadership, which is
okay.
a D6.
Sure. Okay, which is again higher than average. These stories are incomprehensible. They're incoherent. They're hardly even self-serving. They're just trying to fuck over the next guy. That's all they're trying to do.
Huh. So this is what it's like to deal with the snake in the grass archetype.
This is what it's like to be in the U.S. government. Anyway,
This is what it's like to be in government, period.
this is very true. Golly. So what do you want to do? Because they're not telling you the truth. Not only are they not telling you the truth, but they may not even be telling you, like, they're not even trying to help themselves. That's how bad this is.
Not trying to help themselves. So are these people human, or like what are they?
You know, that's a good question.
Or do they take the form of a human type thing?
You're cutting high enough. You can tell that they're not actually human, but they look human. You're not sure what they are.
Yeah, god damn it, do I have to deal with a bunch of fucking elves again? No, fucking kill them all.
You know that their skins are blacker than coal. That's elves in this world. They're not that kind of. They look human. You can tell they're probably not, though. You're of the mind that they're probably not. What do you want to do?
I simply ask them to, shall we say, tell me the truth. Stop with the obvious lies, essentially. And just tell me the truth of what they are, and what they need, what they require, how I may assist them, that kind of thing. Because I want to point out that I can tell that they're lying pretty easily. Simply because, like you said, if it's that incohesive, I can tell that they're more self-serving, trying to serve themselves, rather than actually tell me the truth of the true situation. And I cannot help solve the issue if I do not know the true nature of the issue at hand.
So, bad news. They take extreme offense to this. Pick up somebody picks up a plate and chucks it at you. They start throwing shit at you, and they're gonna actually they're about to give you level 3 bruises. Sorry, not level 3. Dear God, no, you're at. They're gonna give you level 5 bruises for this. They start coming at you to hurt you. They don't. If anything, you've completely pissed them off. What do you do? Do you accept? Okay, cool. Are you defying, or are you just relying on the power of the sword? Because those two things are different. Those are two different outcomes.
I guess defy technically would be the better thing to do.
Okay. What's your? Let me think. So you didn't pick up anything, dear Lord. Did you have any previous conditions?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay, cool. Huh?
Okay, I remember clearing them all because of the fate points I spent and all the other stuff. So.
Okay, so DC of 9. So you're using your you're using your willful stat. You're not trying to kill them, right? Like, I mean, you're trying to cow them.
It's more I'm trying to basically show them I can, but I'm not going to if I don't have to.
Okay, so that's willful.
Yeah.
You are not acting against the intent of the blade. The blade lets you draw it. For the first, one of the first fucking times when you're not fighting all those stupid zombies, it lets you draw it. So You get to throw the D12 on there. You get to. I'm assuming you're using your sword skill.
Yes, which is a D8.
Okay, so that's a D. What's your willful? Excuse me. What's your willful at?
I believe it says D4 in my journal, but I think it was supposed to be a D6.
Okay, D6 it is. So roll. Why should you take the top 3 from your roll?
Why should I take the top 3 of my roll?
Sorry. The top 2. When you roll your 3 dice, you either get the bottom 2 or the top 2. Why should you get the top 2? Why do you think you should get those?
I believe I should get the top 2 simply because Melvin is currently, at this moment in time, truly actually taking a stance as his new leadership role, basically, a new king. He is not trying to act as... Basically, he's trying to not act like a Machiavellian villain. He's actually trying to act like a true king. He is not trying to hurt these people. He is trying to simply show them the power that he wields, show that he is worthy of such power, and that he is willing to step up and actually lead people this time instead of relying on underhanded tactics to get what he wants.
Okay, I'll take that. All right, roll those 3 dice, and hopefully you roll 9 or higher.
I was going to ask, do you have the dice on you? Because I'm still kind of...
Damn it, man. I don't know where mine are. 1 second. Let's see if I can go find them.
I can just go do it online.
Now, 1 second. May as well grab them. I think the kids moved my dice bag, so just roll online. It's fine.
Alright, so tell me what I need to roll.
Huh?
It was a D12, a D8, and a D6, right?
Yep. Have to equal or beat 9. Take the top 2. What you got?
That's a 9 and a 5.
A 9 and a 5? Okay, so a
Yes.
14. All right,
Yes.
cool. They jump back. What do you say now that you've got their attention?
So, are you familiar at all with any chance, when you draw a blade and like the blinding flash of light plays behind me and I'm silhouetted against it as I raise the sword in the air?
Yes. That's pretty cool. Yep.
I do that, and the first thing they hear is, "I am your king. Listen to my voice. I will guide you if you allow me. Do not, and I will cut you down where I must."
Okay. All right. They're
The whole
on their
time, the whole time the light is behind me, it's silhouetting my position, and I look like the what's a famous painting or whatever, one of those famous paintings of the guy with the sword in the air, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yes. I see this. I can see it very, very, very clearly. Okay. So they're down on their knees and groveling. Let's hit the books and see what unexpected thing happens. Second. All right. I want this one. All right, grab from your journal.
Well, this is gonna. Oh my god, this is. Oh shit.
What'd you do? What'd you get?
I will stick by my son's side.
Oh no.
Oh,
One.
shit.
This one again. I've got endless loop. Program does not stop running. Well, this is interesting. What was the worst that could have happened? That. So they bow, right? They bow, and as soon as you do that, you blink, and you're back at the beginning. You have just walked in, and they're all arguing with each other.
Do I remember, or am I stuck in a loop where I can't remember?
Oh no, you remember.
Okay, so I still have my. Okay, cool.
Suddenly walks back into the banquet hall with everything as it was before. All right. So they did listen to you when you did that. But now you're back at the beginning, and they're all arguing with each other bitterly once again. What do you do?
Ironically, this time, since I know what I know now, I'm going to let them argue for a little while because I want to see what's going on. Because now I know the from beforehand, so I know what they'll listen to. Most likely, at least what they listened to last time. But I didn't really know what the subject of their argumentation actually was. I simply wanted to stop it. So now I want to try to figure out possibly what the argument might be about so that I may better use this information to maybe bring it into a more peaceful conclusion. If not, I will have to display my power again.
Okay, all right. Give me a second while I figure things out.
Which, if I have to display my power again, I'm going to chop off some hands. Anyway.
Okay. You realize after a couple of minutes of watching, that there are essentially three different factions. This time when you're watching, there's three different factions, right? One of them is being led by what looks like to be a Farron human by the name of Finn. He's arguing what is all that? That is really, really, really loud, whatever that is.
What are you talking about?
There's all this, like, scratching movement.
There shouldn't be. I'm just standing here standing still. What the hell? Is it on now?
Yeah, now it is. That was weird.
What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know. He's saying that his faction deserves to have the feast first because they've endured countless horrors to get here.
Yeah, that was probably my fault.
There's another faction led by a guy in full black plate mail called the Executioner, and he says that they deserve to have the meal first because if they don't get it, they'll kill everybody else. And they are the strongest, and you notice that the people that he's talking to are indeed armored the best, and they really could just, like, He's being, by his thought, he's being nice because he has chosen not to kill everyone else for this fine meal. And then the third faction is led by someone who calls himself the Emperor Alexis. And he says that the food is his first by right, so that way he can go and make decisions on everyone else's behalf. And if he doesn't have the food first, he can't rule everybody justly. And by the way, he wants his courtiers to get some, so that way they can aid him. And if there's anything left, they'll dole it out. As you're listening to this, someone comes up next to you and he whispers, you know, the best way to rule someone is to have what they want and offer it to them for a price. If you make them need you, they'll stop fighting and they might listen to you.
Man, where's Tasha when I need her?
I don't know. I legitimately hope she's okay. I haven't heard anything from her today at all. So I'm just hoping that I really hope she's all right, you know?
She's probably just with her kids.
At 11 o'clock at night?
Yes.
That ain't Marvel. At least it wasn't, not to the best of my knowledge. Okay. All right. I just checked and I haven't heard from her. I'm checking because I legitimately hope she's okay. So anyway, so that's what this stranger who walks up to you says. He's a human like you. And he just says, why not just take the feast and dole it out and make them need you? If you really care about them, shouldn't you take over the thing that they value and then dole it out as you see fit?
I could, yes. I see the validity in what you say, but the issue with that is, if it is not doled out completely evenly, you will have arguments. If you dole it out evenly, you will have more arguments. But I see what you are saying, and I believe you are correct in a way, yes.
Well,
basically what I'm saying is it's one of those things where you have to approach the situation with, I guess, what's the best way to say it? Not with, like, kid gloves, but with, like...
tact.
Yeah.
The word is tact. It's okay. It's not a dirty... It's a 4-letter word, but it's not a dirty word, for the most part.
No, I understand. I'm just autistic. I don't know what tact means, but...
I hear you. I'm not autistic, and I still don't know what it means. I get it. So, but he says, well, I can help you claim it. It wouldn't just have to be you. I could help you for my own cut of the feast, of course.
Might I ask who you are? I don't say this with suspicion. I don't say that with suspicion. It's just more like, who are you and how, like... basically, I introduce...
My name is Verd. Verd. Verd.
Are you French?
The Farrens use the French language, you bigoted fuck.
I was earlier today, a friend of mine was talking about that whole 2 RPG I was gonna run. And he's like, dude, and like he was joking, he's like, dude, can we play a part of the bad guys? I said, you'll be liberating France. That was a pretty bad thing.
You know, if I ever play with a French person, I'm not going to be able to have you on. Like, like I just have this sneaking suspicion that that's just going to end with the French person crossing the ocean and killing you, and all I'll be able to say is that you had it coming.
No, because because you know what's gonna happen if you ever play with a French person. I'm gonna join and be like, "Hey, what's up, frog fucker?"
Oh no. No, we're never getting you in the same internet chat room as a Frenchman. It's just never gonna
Well,
happen.
it's ironic. One of the first friends I made on Discord was French, and he taught me all the disses to the French people. It was hilarious. It's like, okay.
Of course he did. He unleashed you upon me. He unleashed you upon me. So wherever you are, French person, this is mine. Sorry. Here. How's this?
Yeah, I mean, granted he was Canadian, but still, he was French Canadian. I miss that guy. He was hilarious. Either way, moving on. So, I would say after he says that, I would ask him, of course, I would give you your part of the feast if that is what you want, but how would you even begin to take laid claim to it?
Oh, I have my ways, he says with a slight smile. You don't need to worry about me. I'll be able to help you. I have your back.
I just looked at him and I go, if you have my back, I will have yours. I will not give myself freely to you, but if you can help me, I will also help you. I do not go back on a promise. At least not anymore.
Very good. I like you, he says. And the way he says it, there's something a little kind of tickles some. What's your empathy at? What's your empathic at, or whatever?
I think like D4, because technically that was Melnie's whole thing. He was empathetic.
It totally goes over his head. It's fine. This guy's clearly telling the truth. All right. So
they make
what do you do?
Oh, yeah, it was a step up from a D3 because we had changed it from a D3 to something else.
Oh God!
What was the next one? Was it a D4? Because it was a D3, and we changed it.
It's D3, and then it becomes a D4 if you improve it.
Okay, yeah, I think I improved it last time I checked because it says D4 right under it, so I think that was what that was.
The good news is that you don't completely suck at empathy. The bad news is that he just seems to be the picture of empathy himself and seems completely sincere.
Yeah, except he kind of forgets I'm still Melnie, and I could still kind of twist the truth on some things that I do.
That's fair. So what do you do?
In fact, I could even see it right now. It's, oh God, I get to see Jeter showing up and just being like, "That's your child? Yes, empathy."
So what are you doing?
So I would ask him what the plan would be here. Again, I'm not like. I think a big important thing to state here is that Melnie does not actually trust him, but it's one of those things where you kind of have to try and use every avenue you possibly can to defuse the situation.
Sure.
So he's going along with the plan right now, and he will do what he must, but he's not 110% over trusting this guy either. He's just kind of.
Right. He seems genuine, but you never know. So he says, "Oh, it's very simple." He pulls out a bottle of something, and he says, "This is alchemist's fire. I'm just gonna throw it, and they're gonna scatter. And by the time they're done, you'll be on the table with your sword out, and they won't be able to come to the feast. And I'll have my sword out too, which is not the ruby blade," he says, pointing at the pointing at the pommel. But it's not bad either. So, you should be able to get something out of this.
Here's a question. I could draw my blade and I could make a display to them. And while I do that, you could possibly help me by procuring the feast and then we can easily distribute it.
Sorry, repeat that, Jesse? Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's good. Basically, I'm telling him I'm going to repeat the process I did beforehand, right? Like, the big display, like the flash and all that.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, while I'm doing that, you can procure the feast, and then once the feast is procured, we may redistribute it and bring them into an equal meeting ground, basically. So kind of like, I literally want to flashbang them, basically.
Okay. Yeah, no, he's perfectly fine with this. Go for it.
All right, do I just reroll?
No, it's not a roll. You know it'll work.
Oh, okay. I just walked up to them. I'm assuming they all look to me, and I just draw the blade, and I give the same speech from beforehand with the same pose and everything.
They're all like, whoa, oh, hi. And as they're paying attention, he gets around and he secures the food. He's got his sword out. He pulls out the alchemist's fire and he says, "You will listen to the king. This is his food now. I represent his will, and his will is that this food is his." And everyone kind of like, they kind of look at you and they go, "But your majesty," kind of, like, wait, what the hell? And they're shocked. They're shocked. They don't know what to do.
So I do this other thing, right? After all this, after he says that, so I hold the blade downward facing, like, the blade of the sword downward facing, and I have my arms outstretched, kind of like, okay, you ever seen like those statues of like the archangels or whatever they are with the swords sink down and all?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just walk to them and I go, "And as king, I am fair to my subjects. The food will be distributed to you, the same as it will to me."
Okay.
I basically straight up just tell them that, like, I view them as equal to me, even if I am a king. I will distribute the food evenly, but I will not give any more than what is necessary to each side. And I will not overfeed a singular side, but I will also not overfeast myself. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. They all kind of give each other these looks, and you realize that something about what you said didn't quite land. But you're not quite sure what, because they're not telling you no, but they're not cheering along like they were either. So I'll say yes if you take Paranoid 1 as a condition.
Well, so my question is there any way I can kind of try and tell what maybe didn't land, or is it just something I have to take a condition for first before I can do that?
As part of learning as part of your success, you take the condition.
Part of the okay. If it's part of the success, I'll take the condition.
Okay, cool. So now you're Paranoid level 1.
Yes.
So you're stressed at 1. I need to write this down because I always forget to do this. Paranoid 1. Okay. Stress 1. All right. You figure it out. All of these people are so fucking distrustful of each other, and they hate each other so much that your definition of fair, they don't have a definition of fair. When you say fair, they hear someone is going to get fucked. That's what they hear.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess I could understand that, because then technically I have to show them what I mean instead of actually.
Right, but you figure that, but when you figure that out, it fills your stomach with dread. Like,
No, that's fine. What I meant was just I understand the paranoia, and I understand that because technically, no matter how you look at this situation is a powder keg, and I need to be paranoid of that because this could blow off at any moment if I'm not careful. But I
right,
see what the issue is, so I know what to tiptoe around. Is basically a good way of saying it, I suppose.
right. By the way, did you just see Verd put something in the food? You could have sworn you saw him make some weird motion with a bottle. You could have sworn.
Dude, I swear to God, if you were doing the French crap where you're adding some alcohol to the fucking food, I will murder.
Looks.
That's not in character. But
Oh, okay. Let's say, hold up. But yeah, no, you could have sworn, like, just as you're like, oh my gosh, like this is the situation. You could have sworn you see Verd's hand put something on one of the dishes as he's dealing stuff out. Could swear. You could just swear that he did it. But when you look at him, he doesn't have a bottle in his hand.
no, that's what I'm saying. So Melanie would not. Melanie would be enough to probably know not to make any rash decision here because, again, it's like you said with the paranoid condition. I would say he's probably starting to kind of. Have you ever run through a bunch of scenarios in your head that get worse and worse and worse, and then
Yeah.
you kind of have to step back and be like, okay, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. Not happening. Stop thinking. That's
Right.
how I imagine the paranoid thing is going right now.
Sure. But it still takes you a minute. It takes you a minute longer than it should. And during that point in time, Verd walks up to you with a plate and says, "For you, my liege, do you eat it?"
I say this. The subjects eat before the king.
Shrugs. Very well, then. And he starts handing out plates. And he looks at you and he says, "My liege, will you eat after they have finished, or shall I serve you your plate now?" And you could swear that the way he says it, he's trying to prod you into waiting. You could swear that he's doing it.
Well, realistically, I'm doing something here where I was going to wait for them to eat anyway, simply because not really because of any real paranoia that I was going to do beforehand. It was just going to be like, a gesture of goodwill to show that I, don't put myself above them. But I suppose now that also plays into the paranoia as well.
It does. But, are you being set up?
Well, to be entirely fair, I'm going to just say this. Technically, the paranoia makes sense. I literally washed up in a lake with a couple of people who died twice and then came back, and now I'm talking to a bunch of strange people in a weird room that I don't know what the hell's going on, and one of them's French. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm in hell.
No comment. No comment whatsoever. So what do you do?
I will wait anyway, simply because that was the plan from beforehand, but I think it also really ties well into the paranoia aspect too right now.
Okay, all right, because now you're... Well, when you do that, everybody kind of looks at you, and someone says, "What, you're not too good to eat with us?" Sorry. What? Sorry. What, you're too good to eat with us? Another one says, "Yeah, if you're..." I mean, they haven't even touched the food yet. They immediately turn on you again, and they go, "Well, if you're not going to eat point."
I slowly raise a hand to him. Not like, in a shushing gesture, but just kind of like, hold on.
Yeah.
And I just simply say, I want you to eat first. because I am I am I am a man who has made many mistakes in his past. And I want to make amends for the things that I have done. And I want to prove to both you and to myself that I want to put the people that I lead before myself because I used to put myself above others.
Oh, so you're saying you're a shit ruler, says one of them, just very rudely. Oh, and kind of laughs and says,
And no, I actually like look up and like I don't even like move. I just go, maybe I was, but I'm not now because I know now what I had done wrong. And now I want to lead the people to actually be a king rather than what I once was.
that seems to
Simply
calm.
with,
That seems to do it. And they
and
go.
then
Sorry, go on.
and then like I was gonna just tell them because I mean I'm assuming there's a plate made for me,
Oh, yeah, there absolutely is. I'm
and
checking up
once
on
it's in front of me, yeah, and then once it's in front of me, I just ask them, and if you wish, I would be the one to take the first bite to show you that I am not just a king, I am the ruler that seeks to lead.
So you're going to take a bite first, and then you're going to let them.
Basically, it's like literally, I'm trying to show them, like, if it makes you feel better, I will take the first bite and show you that I am willing to take the first step if that is what needs to be done.
Yep, which they're perfectly fine with. You take the first bite. Tastes great. Great food. They immediately chow in. They immediately tuck in. They start eating. And then one of them seizes his stomach, throws up blood, falls over, and is dead. Congratulations, you have poisoned level 1, which is a mortal condition, which hurts which again, you can attempt to defy it if you want.
Is there any way to spend fate on that?
Huh?
I do have 3 fate left. Can I spend 1 on that?
Yes, but you'll have to hit the books, which
That's
is
fine.
not a bad. Okay, cool. All right, so you do that. We are going to chuck these out. All right, chuck this out. All right, let's. We grab. I've got all of my old journals here from this campaign setting. Finally had the courage to just go grab them all. All right. The savage races are vanquished but not destroyed. What you got?
Sorry. I don't think you can hear me whenever I'm off the thing. Give me a second.
Sure.
I got. Give me a second. I will become a better king. I believe that was just something that was like the old belief or something that like I reworded. But like, I think that's the thing it was before I reworded it into the other belief. But either way.
Okay, so you find yourself you find that how do I put it? Suddenly, you are face to face with yourself as a mercenary not too long ago. Just And you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference between who you are now and who you were then. You were a lot more brash, you were a lot more resourceful, a lot more cunning, but much more cold. And he's staring you straight in the face. And he just says one word. Coward.
And I say one word back if I am permitted.
Of course.
Bastard.
Ah.
A handsome bastard, but a bastard.
I love it. I love it. One second.
I get to see that now. So how the hell did you two get along or whatever? I said, we just kind of started insulting each other.
Ah. All right.
It's like how every male friendship be.
Right. We just hate each other passively, and then it becomes, respect. He says, you have the ruby blade and you didn't cut them down? Why didn't you just cut them down? I mean, you realize, he says, you could have just cut them all down and just taken the food and brought it back for you and your friends. They're hungry too. What were you thinking? Who cares about these people? Just kill them and take the food.
If I was you, I would. But unfortunately, times have changed, my friend. Times have become different than what they once were. And because of our actions, we have caused a strife that now plagues this land. And I made a promise to those below, those that have given me a chance, that I will become the true leader that they deserve, that I will lead this blade to its true destiny, and that I will restore its fortress. I was like you once, but I'm not you anymore. I even kind of look to myself and I go, my name, it's not even Malaviente anymore.
Oh,
My
what
name
name? Sorry, go on.
My name is Melman.
Oh, so you think you get to just rename yourself because you feel bad, because instead of taking care of your friends, you sat here and you got duped by someone who poisoned the food. A move that would not have escaped me, but it escaped you, you soft old bastard.
I just smile. And I'm going to do something that I kind of hope is going to be kind of cool.
Find out.
I take off the sword from my back. Not drawing it, mind you.
Yeah, you take it off.
And you remember the werewolf codpiece?
Yes.
I smash it on the ground and destroy it, symbolizing that I have truly ascended into someone completely different than who I once was.
I have smashed the cod piece with a whole bunch of exclamation marks. So that way, if I hit the books, I'm going to find it at some point, and then we're going to laugh about this.
Yes.
Dude.
I know that's probably a weird sentence, but I mean that is pretty symbolic with what I did.
It is really symbolic, and it is really, really, really weird. And he just stares at you. And all of a sudden, there's this moment where you can see this strange metal vessel. And inside of that metal vessel, there is an army capable of dealing with the undead threat, if only you can get there. And for just 1 second, you can see this clear as day. and you know that there is a third sword necessary to make this whole thing work. You don't know where it is, but you know there is a third blade. You and Alistair have two of each have one of them, but there's a third one, and it needs to be found in order to make the army work. And with that, suddenly you're in a very, very, very dark corner, and there's the blue light. And there's a huge backpack of food right there. We're going to cut it there.
I was going to just say one thing because I want to end this session on one thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I take the backpack, and am I still in the lake? Like next to the lake?
You're like you find that you're maybe a quarter mile down a tunnel. Like you literally just turn around and walk back.
I turn around and walk back. I look in the lake. I see my reflection, and you've seen one of those like any of the shows and all where like my reflection changes into my younger appearance.
Yeah.
And I just want to say my younger self just goes, "Good luck, my friend." And I just nod and I keep going.
His eyes glow green for a second, just for the record. Congratulations. Congratulations. You outsmarted the devil. That was fucking awesome. That was great.
I just want to say this. This is like one of the best RPG systems for character development I think I've played.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I put a lot of work into it, so I really appreciate that so much.
Because I'm not gonna like I've told my friends about this system, and they're like, I went from a cold, ruthless mercenary captain to a genuine like guy who's trying to become a king right now. Like that's just kind of insane.
It's cool though, isn't it? Like it's happening very naturally. Like nothing. I'm just presenting you things. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just running things. That's all.
Yeah, that's what makes it great.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, let's see here. You spent a fate to do that, so you're currently at 2. All right, so first one, my plans aren't as airtight as I thought. I must become more. You caused chaos with that. You actually, like, inside of the context of this, you definitely did. So that's a fate. It's a fate point. And how do you think you did that? Because like I'm saying you did because you did, but like what's the action that you were that you would think of with that?
The main action was the fact that I ended up causing chaos at the meeting simply because of like how I approached it at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then towards the second time loop, basically, when I tried to figure things out, the plan still kind of caused chaos because I allowed it to go a little further than what it was because of my paranoia.
Right.
Something I had prevented, but instead I went through with the plan of trying to just be a little more trusting. That kind of thing, right. I think, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. All right. So got that. So that's a bullet point for you. The second one is when I became king, I assassinated multiple assets. I must learn to use pawns in order to win the game. You broke this one. Like out now.
Oh, yes.
You absolutely did. So you get 2 bullet points. One of them is the belief that you just broke. So when I became king, I'm going to write that one down. Are you going to change this one?
I will, yeah, if I earn a belief change, yeah.
So that one's been in play like 4 sessions. So that's worth. So you get 2 fate for breaking it, and another 4 fate for changing it. So that's 6 just right there. So that's.
So I have 9 fate altogether.
So far, yeah. Why did you break this belief?
I broke the belief because I realized at the end of the day, the cold-hearted ruthlessness that I was displaying is what led us into the chaos that I had once done, and I had made a promise to the Minotaurs below that I would become a true king and that I would use the blade for what its intended purpose actually is.
I like that. I like that. Okay, that's a bullet point. God, I love this game. Anyway, one second. And then last belief. I saw the group almost fall apart and learned one of them died twice. I must do what must be done to help protect them. You broke this one too.
Yes.
Are you going to change this one as well, or are you going to keep it?
I'll change that one too, actually.
Holy shit. So that's 2. You also have this one for like 4. So that's another 6. Congratulations, you have 15 fate. Which means next session is going to be utterly ape shit. Why did you break it?
Because Melny has truly transformed. This session, I like to think, was literally his like true transformation into what he is becoming.
I love that.
I know it's weird, and you know that this is the strangest thing to say, but his breaking of the cod piece was literally his way of showing that he has truly, become different than what he once was.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I love it. I love it. It's happening. This is I mean, Crescendo works like this. I love it. It's this like small series of increments, and then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, huh, that's totally different. It's totally different than what I had in mind.
I explained it to my friend who was asking about this system when I mentioned a friend of mine made an RPG system. I said, think about it like this. Crescendo is a game where you go, I am a soldier, I have gold, I want to start out and do the right thing. Now I am crawling before God and just trying to beg for forgiveness after I destroyed an entire continent worth of people. After a few sessions, I'm like,
how did he respond to that one? I'm curious.
He was like, what the fuck do you do in those sessions? I said, you just have to sit in and look.
It's called. I mean, he's welcome. I have visitor rules if he wants to sit in. He can come in and really mess up things. So we're at 15 here. The role play was perfect. I loved it. Another 3 fate. You're at 18 fucking fate. So, it's going to be the end of the world next session again. Sorry. It's gonna hurt.
I can just see that now. Touch is just gonna. Oh wait, that's perfect. I'm just gonna be like, hey Tasha, you're not the only one who shouldn't be left unsupervised.
That was awesome though. I loved that. It just that felt so right. Like, I don't know. This is like I'm not a very patient person. When I was 15, I was told by one of my classmates in an art class that she thought I was a very patient person, and I said I am not a patient person. I'm a very persistent person. And there's a huge difference between those two. A patient person doesn't like lose his cool. Persistent people do. They just keep, they just keep going. They just keep smashing their head against the wall. The patient person doesn't do it. He just waits for the wall to fall. And this game has always taught me that being patient is worthwhile, because then you have this, and this session wouldn't mean anything without like the 24 sessions before it. Literally, it's just this like,
oh no, yeah.
Click.
I think the weirdest thing for it is I was describing it to my friend. I said, even though like I love Dungeons and Dragons, it's a great game. Dungeons and Dragons is one of those where character development in D&D is kind of like very heavily dependent on the DM and the player.
Yeah, yeah.
Shindo inherently is very good for character development. It's just the game system itself basically develops the character. So
I mean, it keeps kicking you in the balls until you do something. That's for sure. All right.
yeah, that's what
I really appreciate that, Jesse. I really do, and I at some point I want to try and dupe all three of you into running games of this, and I would like to help everybody figure out how to do that in their own way, because I've got my way to do it, but everyone's going to have to figure out how to, because it's such a personal game. You're going to have to figure out how to do it yourself, and that's something I want to like. Well, I'm hoping to get other people into like slowly spreading this thing out after seeing the scope of what this can do, because this is unique. No other game does this. The only other game that sort of does this is Burning Wheel, like Burning Wheel or Torchbearer, and this does it very different than they do even. So I really want to like have people. I don't know.
I'm gonna be entirely fair. I think if I ever run, because one of my favorite fantasy series is Song of Ice and Fire. I think if I ever run that, I'm gonna use Crescendo.
Actually, I could see that. Like, people kind of rip on Martin being a nihilist, but he's not. I don't think people really know what nihilism means.
The thing with Martin is, if you actually read A Song of Ice and Fire, it's not nihilistic. It's just apathetic is the best way to put it, I think. And I don't mean that in a bad light. I think, but people don't understand what I mean by that is, it's the fact that, like it or not, the real world does not give a shit about how good you are. If you fuck up, you're gonna get fucked. That's just what it does. So that's what Martin's world does. It doesn't matter, because, plenty of people in Martin's world live perfectly happy, normal lives. It's just, you focus on the really shitty parts of it. That's just what it is.
Right.
That's just what it is. But it's just the fact that, basically my biggest complaint anytime I've ever tried to run, like, a Game of Thrones, basically, nothing ever captures Game of Thrones correctly, because Game of Thrones is not D&D Party in Westeros.
No, good lord, no. No,
that's not how
very
Fire is supposed to be.
It's extremely.
It's not even just. Well, it's not even just PvP. It's just like, you don't have to be PvP to run a Game of Thrones. It's just Game of Thrones is more like, So take Melny for example, right? Melny would not be traveling with a random group of adventurers. He's a noble, a king.
Yeah.
He would be in King's Landing. It would not make sense for him to go from point A to point B. He's in King's Landing. He is the king.
Right.
But that does not mean you can't run a meaningful game where Melny makes a lot of fucking impacts.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you could do that in this game very easily. Very.
Tasha's character. And then, like, say if Tasha was a Lannister, it doesn't make any sense for her to be in King's Landing 24/7. She should be in Casterly Rock or something.
Right.
Or yada, yada, yada. It just... A Game of Thrones is supposed to be about big players in a big game. It's not about small players in a big game.
Yeah. Oh, no. I hear that. Okay. I'm going to bed because I want to keep talking, but daylight savings time is coming for me, and it will not treat me kindly because there are 4 of them. Please help. Please send help. But
look, buddy, you know that. Look, buddy. Wait, are you Catholic or are you Christian?
Orthodox. Eastern Orthodox.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to make a joke about Catholicism if you were Catholic, but.
Well, I mean, we do make a lot of babies like Catholics do. We do. It is a thing.
Yeah, but here's a question though. Don't Eastern Orthodox, don't they still believe in birth control though? Because I think Catholics don't.
Catholics do.
I don't.
It's not the kind of.
I'm not asking for you specifically. I'm not asking for your information specifically. I'm just saying in general. So
they believe in NFP is a thing where they were like, as long as the woman isn't ovulating, it's fine, and you can control when, like you can track that. So they believe in a form of birth control. It's just not putting a condom on, essentially,
Okay.
or you know,
that's
the pill, stuff like that. But anyway,
okay. That's actually
I'm about to
I
follow.
know that. Yeah, buddy. Just anytime you want to talk, I'm available. Just hit me up.
Absolutely.
It's great playing with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, likewise, dude. This has been great.
See you, man.
Night.